Hello everybody. In this video we will try to understand some more interesting things about Jyeshta Nakshatra. Jyeshta Nakshatra is a responsible, protective and intelligent nakshatra. But the problem with Jyeshta Nakshatra, especially in the Kali Yuga, is their main concern is to show up a good image to the society and public. They want to show some kind of image of their life to the people. So for that they generally try to adopt the path of Indra. Kind of they may even try to give bribes to achieve a good position, or they try to know the family structure of the families that are competing with them, and they try to put down the other families. They also are revengeful and vindictive by nature. And another important thing is they try to protect underprivileged, hopeless people. But this one also, to create an image, to get an image in the family structure or in the society or in the public. If they are politicians in the public or society, if they are just family members, they protect their people just to show off some image. And of course they love their kith and kin. And this is a brief idea about Jyeshta's energy, and you can see for more clarity why I am telling all this. You can see my previous videos for better clarity. In this video we will try to understand the professions that Jyeshta energy people can take. Jyeshta energy is taken as a policing profession, a police of the zodiac. Jyeshta is called. So all policing professions, government officials, administrative posts of all types, because Jyeshta is the senior most. So you can see administrative posts for Jyeshta, they belong to this energy. Reporters, radio and television commentators, news readers, talk show hosts, actors, orators. This is all because of the mercurial connection with Jyeshta, because Mercury is the planetary ruler of Jyeshta. Firemen belong to Jyeshta energy because of Martian impact. Trade unionists, you can say, occultists, mainly black magic people, black magicians, or they belong to Jyeshta energy. Detectives, mafia, politicians, bureaucrats, naval professions, forest rangers, military professions, these are all because of the Martian impact. Salvation Army and other such caring for the aged professions, because they are caring by nature. They try to care a kith and kin, their loved ones, they try to care, and they also show off, that they are actually protecting the underprivileged, hopeless people, just to create a very good image in the public or the society or in the family. Manual laborers, athletes, these are all belong to Jyeshta energy because of Martian impact. Telecommunication industry related professions, air traffic controllers and radar experts is all because of mercurial connection. And especially if they are choosing any medical profession, they can become good surgeons because of the Martian energy. And the places that have Jyeshta energy are hilly inaccessible terrains, hot tropical jungles, government buildings. So, this hot and hilly, this is all the Martian effect, and the government buildings. It's because any government office, any government building, any administrative office, that's all Jyeshta, because Jyeshta by nature is senior most, is a kind of, shows some kind of authoritarian position. They have authority inbuilt. All places related to telecommunication and media because of Mercury, and airports because of Mercury, hospitals, military bases, capital cities, manors, forts and places, old age homes, all places connected with the professions that we discussed. Mainly the mercurial and Martian qualities you can see in the professions. And also Jyeshta by nature is a bit caring, so any kind of old age home, taking care of old people. This is all, the care, or underprivileged people, taking care of underprivileged and hopeless people. This is also this is also this is Jyeshta energy by nature. So see, it is a Sattvic Nakshatra. This classification relates to its elderly and protective aspect, and Jyeshta is reverential towards its elders, or those who are more powerful than themselves, and is protective towards its juniors and subordinates. So the main positive quality of Jyeshta is they protect the kith and kin, they respect the people in the level above, and they also show some kind of protective nature towards the juniors and subordinates. Jyeshta is also sattvic in the sense that it is ready to sacrifice a lot of pleasures and enjoyments for the sake of its duties and commitments. So that is another inherent nature of Jyeshta, because if you see Indra, to get the position of Indra, right, Indra is not a single person. A person who has done a lot of penance can achieve that position. That means what? When a person is doing a lot of penance, he might have sacrificed a lot, then only he gets that position, the Indra position. So the sacrificing nature for some commitments, for to achieve higher positions, and even sacrificing pleasures and enjoyments is very much inherent in the Jyeshta energy people, and it belongs to the air element. This relates to Mercury's strong association with Jyeshta. Behind its fixed and stern Mars exterior, Jyeshta is pretty light, floaty, and airy in disposition because of the mercurial energy. Jyeshta hankers for freedom and movement, which are neutral qualities of the airy element, the airiness. Airiness actually, it wants freedom and movement. So Jyeshta very much is interested in this freedom and movement, but is usually constrained by its outer image, responsibilities, or circumstances. So Jyeshta energy people, they also in one point of time they seek for a lot of freedom and movement, but they cannot get that freedom and movement because of their responsibilities and circumstances, and especially they care about their outer image a lot. So in order to protect that outer image, they may even sacrifice their freedom and movement at times in their life, for sure. See, even if you see Jyeshta, you can see as a policeman, let us say. You can also take an example of a housewife also, for what I said in the previous just now, right? What I said just now, right? And another example I can give, a police officer may like to join the crowd in a rock concert, but he cannot do it because of his job and position. That is the energy of Jyeshta, right? So Jyeshta Nakshatra energy is called as police of the zodiac. They they have to show that image to the public because they are the police. They have to show that image. So in order to show that image, they continuously sacrifice something, right? The same thing happens with Jyeshta as well. And it is considered to be a Rakshasa or demonic nakshatra. It is very surprising to find that this nakshatra, whose ruling deity Indra is king of the gods, but this nakshatra is classified as demonic. If you look at stories and various Puranic stuff associated with Indra, reveal that Indra at times surpasses the demons themselves as far as demonic or unrighteous actions are concerned. The kind of actions that Indra does are basically, once becoming Indra, they are a bit demonic if you observe. And Jyeshta's sense of right and wrong can get quite flawed because of its primarily selfish and self-centered disposition. This particular behavior is classifying Jyeshta as a demonic nakshatra, and it is a level nakshatra, balanced. Jyeshta's tendency to get even is the first thing which comes up in regards to this particular classification. See, Jyeshta is always concerned with fair play, justice, balancing events and people. A policeman pursuing a murderer is, in essence, fueled by Jyeshta's basic nature to get even. That's where this particular Jyeshta is taken as a balanced nakshatra. See, this particular getting even tendency is found in gangster mentalities like mafia as well. The heads, dons, or elders of mafia are always playing the endless game of getting even with each other. So, it is a hard, sharp, and dreadful nakshatra, Jyeshta. Just like the planet Mars, Jyeshta is not averse to activities requiring these qualities of hard, sharp, and dreadful energies. Jyeshta carries within itself most of the energy associated with Scorpio. That's hardness, coldness, focus, torture, punishment, attacking, and biting as well. So Jyeshta represents the hard, stony, and ferocious side of Scorpio. Its brutality is well exemplified today by the police departments and the heads of organizations, corporations, and institutions of all around the world, if you observe. They are all hard, they are hot and cold, they're focused, they torture, they punish, they attack. This hard, sharp, and dreadful energies you can find in the heads of different organizations and also in the police department. And it relates to the first half of the lunar month of Jyeshta Masa. That is lunar month of Jyeshta, you can say, or Jyeshta Masa. So, the first half of Jyeshta Masa is Jyeshta Nakshatra's energy, and that usually corresponds to the late May or early June in the solar calendar. And Jyeshta is also related to the Saptami or Chaturdashi, that is 7th and 14th Tidhis, of the waxing and waning phases of the moon's monthly cycle. Harsh activities. See, there are some activities that you can perform on the day of Jyeshta. Those are harsh activities: plotting, spying, scheming, passing judgments, getting even, putting one's foot down over important issues, taking control, expressing one's authoritative nature out of a sense of caring. So, you want to show some caring nature, but thereby you want to take authority. That kind of activity is very much shown in Jyeshta. And administrative activities, policing or monitoring situations, occult activities, acting responsibly, acts of concern, care or protection, associating with elders, especially giving assistance to the elderly, taking care of family matters, occult activities requiring a lot of penance, holding discussions over serious issues, grand planning, acting restrained out of consideration for others, setting disciplines for oneself. This is all Jyeshta energy, a pure Jyeshta energy, and these activities you can perform on the day of Jyeshta Nakshatra. That's when moon transiting Jyeshta Nakshatra. That day you can do all these activities that we discussed, because those are all pure Jyeshta energy activities. And the inauspicious activities, the activities that are considered to be inauspicious if you perform on the day of Jyeshta, are acts of selfishness or self-centricity, taking advantage of others. Marriage, you cannot perform marriage on the day of Jyeshta, remember. Healing, any healing activity, if you start on the day of Jyeshta, it will become worse only. And too much rest or recreational activity you cannot do on the day of Jyeshta. The energy doesn't permit these activities generally. Any dealings which require a lot of tact, because Jyeshta cannot apply tact. Somewhere they open up, somewhere they leak the things, and there's no tact, only straightforward hardness only you can see. And any sensitive and gentle activity you cannot perform on the day of Jyeshta, because it's a very, very hard and dreadful nakshatra. And it is not good for traveling. On the day of Jyeshta Nakshatra, better you avoid traveling, because it's very, very harsh and dreadful nakshatra. So Mercury is the main planetary ruler of this nakshatra. Mercurial energy refines itself from its deceptive, cunning, childlike beginnings to a more serious energy which tries to control the scattered functionings of the mind. Considering that moon represents the mass mentality, Mercury's functioning here is directed to controlling that energy. So clearly, Mercury is a controlling factor here. So mercurial energy, actually, it refines itself from its cunning childlike beginnings to a more serious energy, and it is able to control the scatterings of the mind as well. So basically, Mercury's functioning here is directed to control the energies. Mercury has more control here. And it is no wonder that Jyeshta natives feel like the police of the world. They behave like police officers. Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, of course, it supports this policing mentality and provides the energy and initiative required for it. The Mercury Mars combination can turn self serving very quickly as the Martian energy afflicts the perceptive and discriminative part of mercurial energy. Much of the deceit and misuse of power inherent in this nakshatra can be understood from the many tales about unruly behavior of its ruling deity Indra, the god of demigods. Indra is god of demigods. You can clearly understand the behavior, the true behavior of Jyeshta by the stories of Indra. So, here Mercury and Mars combination you can clearly see because Mercury is the planetary ruler of Jyeshta and Mars is the sign ruler. So, Mercury Mars combination it can turn self serving very quickly as the Martian energy afflicts the perceptive and discriminative part of mercurial energy. So, Martian energy creates a negative impact with the discriminative capacity of Mercury here. And one more important thing is Mercury makes Jyeshta a sort of chameleon whose values are not based upon any real understanding of things but are dependent upon its surroundings. Based on the surroundings, they try to change their principles and values. Pluto and Ketu are the co-rulers of Scorpio, along with Mars, also convey a part of Jyeshta's energy in the form of self-destructive tendencies. The kind of decisions they make are self-destructive most of the times. Jyeshta people are very good in putting themselves in a lot of problems and worries. Sometimes you feel that better the Jyeshta people are just stand still or maintain some silence because of their unnecessary nagging, unnecessary mourning. They create problems for themselves. And Mercury-Mars Ketu conjunctions in a chart carry similar energies of Jyeshta. In the present day and age, most planets placed here need to be watched very carefully because, see, usually work against the native's peace of mind. The planets placed in Jyeshta generally, as they usually work against, they actually work against the native's peace of mind. So, a well-placed Mercury, of course, can give very good results here. And especially if you observe the third pada of Jyeshta, of course, that represents Aquarius in the Navamsha Chakra. This pada gives a strong humanitarian instinct and allows the native to play roles which are beneficial or protective towards society. That's one of the best padas. The native works best in professions which involve protecting the underprivileged. They like serving causes. In the Jyeshta padas, Jyeshta 3 is the very good pada for the society. And the native can be very sacrificing when it comes to protecting others. So, this particular pada, the third pada, gives a love for researching science or mysticism and occult sciences. The native has their own peculiar brand of family values, and the native enjoys espousing their personal philosophy to others. If you have a very good planet in Jyeshta 3, that's very good for the society, and the native gets caught up in some sexual encounters, that is the main thing for Jyeshta 3. That's a kind of, they involve in sexual activities a bit. That is, of course, that is also good for them. Saturn, Mercury, Venus and Rahu are very very strong in Jyeshta 3. So Saturn and Venus, when they are in Jyeshta 3, and of course Mercury and Rahu, they act very nicely for them. And planets placed here actually create problems to the native's mother. But yes, the native can handle to some extent very nicely these problems. I would say Jyeshta 3 is a very very good pada for the public, because I can clearly see, compared to other padas of Jyeshta, of course Jyeshta 1 and 2 are also good for themselves, and that is, they may not be very helpful for the society, but still I can see Jyeshta 3 is a very very good pada where they can take care of others very nicely. Whenever we talk about Jyeshta, we say one single sentence that is the most positive sentence of Jyeshta. They take care of underprivileged, hopeless people, and also they take care of their kith and kin. And this energy is very much present in Jyeshta 3 because it is in the Aquarius Navamsha, right? So that is one important thing I want to point out very clearly. And the sexual animal is a stag for Jyeshta. See, a stag is an aggressive sexual animal as compared to a deer. Deer is for Anuradha. So here sexual aggression is becoming to next level here compared to Anuradha. So Jyeshta is supposed to have a cold yet aggressively passionate response towards lovemaking and likes to dominate the activity as well. See, it is not considered a very virile nakshatra, even though it can get obsessive about sexuality. Something like Jyeshta energy may show a kind of obsession about sexuality, but the virility matters here, right? So it's something like they may not have enough energy sometimes for this activity, but still they are interested. But it seems a kind of it creates some kind of confusion, right? So the virility is the problem with Jyeshta, but they are interested in this activity. So it is the 18th nakshatra in the whole nakshatra system. So it reflects the meaning associated with the number 18. It is considered the culmination of lunar energy. And the tarot reading, we generally see the tarot image associated with the 18th card, appropriately called the moon, depicts a nighttime scene with two dogs howling at two towers, which form a gateway to a mysterious region beyond. and a full moon hangs above on the horizon while a crayfish is attempting to crawl out of a small pool in front. This whole card, the tarot card 18, this predominantly dark imaginary. It's a dark image if you observe the occult image, and it relates to a final confrontation with the hidden workings of the subconsciousness. So, Jyeshta's task to constantly confront the mysteries, fears, illusions, and pitfalls of the dark realms of the nature is very much evident here. And Jyeshta has to bring order into the scheme of things through the right use of the elemental forces. Jyeshta tries to use the universal forces, tries to organize the universal forces in order to get the inner functionings of hidden energies. That's where the black magicians are related to Jyeshta energy. See, when to let nature takes its course and when to interfere. Right? So when you're trying to get the inner functioning of hidden energy, the main thing that you have to do is you should know when to let nature takes its course and when you should interfere with the nature and act upon it so that you would get to know something great. See, Indra, along with the other elemental gods like Agni and Varuna, is always trying to keep the balance in terrestrial affairs through confronting the dark demonic forces who are repeatedly trying to disrupt nature's functionings. See, the danger here lies in folly, which arises out of an improper understanding of the universal functionings. So, Jyeshta is all about governing these universal functionings, how they understand, how they really understand. It matters. When the Jyeshta energy is not properly arranged by the planets, then that will lead to a kind of they understand the universal functionings very wrongly, and they become a very unsuccessful black magicians. So it's something like if you have a kind of bad planet in Jyeshta, so they try to understand the universal functioning, they try to get something out of the hidden energies, but ultimately they cannot get it because they repeatedly try to disrupt nature functionings. That's it. So this is the point where the next nakshatra, that is the Mula nakshatra, takes over and tries to gain a root understanding of universal functionings. See, Anuradha is about aligning. The energy is very fresh and smooth that it can align itself to the universal functionings, because that is where the Kundalini awakening energy transfers through all the chakras and it aligns itself with the universal functioning and it becomes the universal energy. That is Anuradha. But here in the Jyeshta, it's about governing the universal energy, governing the universal functioning, and get to know something out of the hidden energies. But if some malefic planet is present in Jyeshta, they cannot deal with this hidden energy, and they become very unsuccessful tantrics, unsuccessful black magicians, you can say. So now the soul is a kind of interrupted. But if some energies are very much aligned in Jyeshta, yes, they can understand the universal functionings, they can get to know something out of their research, they can uh, get to, uh, you know, but a lot of frustration is present in this particular Jyeshta energy because of that. Indra tries to do some mischievous things, and he finally gets something unexpected, right? He lands himself into troubles and problems because of his own mischievous activities. And that is where Jayeshta's energy is. Most of the times it tries to be very successful black magician, but it becomes finally, it turns up as a very bad black magician, a very unsuccessful black magician. That's where the necessity arises to understand the roots of the universal functioning. That's where we go to the Mula Nakshatra, the next nakshatra, where the soul really tries to understand the roots of the universal functioning, the roots of the hidden nature of the universe. And Jiddu Krishnamurti is a very great philosopher, has his moon placed in this particular nakshatra. See, despite the many good things in his message, just stubbornness comes out when he refuses to look towards anything beyond material for arriving at a complete universal understanding. It is interesting to note here that he suffered serious throbbing pain in his head for most part of his life. This was a result of his conscious effort to not pay attention to his internal psychic processes happening at the Kundalini level. That's where the problem with Jyeshta is they try to understand the hidden nature, the hidden things of the universal functioning, but they fail. They fail. They become unsuccessful black magicians, unsuccessful tantrics. Most of the times. But they are very good in knowing that there is some universal functioning and there is some hidden energy in the universe, and they try to understand that behavior, but the understanding is not so complete. And according to Varaha Mihira, moon in Jyeshta gives an angry disposition, few friends, lustfulness, contentment, and a sense of responsibility. Because Jyeshta, the older woman, a seasoned, stern, stubborn woman, has some responsibility. So, the 18th nakshatra, Jyeshta, in the hidden level, its task is to constantly confront the mysteries, fears, illusions, and pitfalls of the dark realms of the nature. Jyeshta has to bring order into the scheme of things through the right use of the elemental forces. But this particular use of elemental forces, the right use of elemental forces, lies in knowing when to let nature take its course and when to interfere with the nature. But see, Indra, the Jyeshta's energy, that is Indra, along with other elemental gods like Agni and Varuna, is always trying to keep the balance in terrestrial efforts through confronting the dark demonic forces who are repeatedly trying to disrupt nature's functionings. The danger here is improper understanding of the universal functionings. It deals with the dark forces, but the improper understanding is always present with Jyeshta. And that's where the correct understanding of the universal forces is required, and that understanding happens in the next nakshatra, that is Mula Nakshatra. So, in our next video, we'll try to talk about the 19th nakshatra, the another Ketu nakshatra, or the final Ketu nakshatra, that is Mula. Thanks for watching this video.